All right, welcome everyone to the March 30th meeting of the East Bridgewater Finance Committee. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:39. Apologies, we're a few minutes late. We have to go through some of the remaining items for our budget process. We are a little out of sorts and off schedule. I have no other way to say it. We are, because of the situation we're in, and we've canceled our last meeting, we have about a week and a half, maybe give or take a couple days to get everything finalized, but we are still missing some key pieces of information. So what I'm going to propose we do tonight is go through the remaining expense items that we had discussed at our last meeting and kind of make just some final decisions. Identify a couple areas, which we've already talked about, that we will have a little play. And then once we get final numbers, which I'm thinking we'll be talking probably early next week, I think we're going to have at the very least one, possibly two more meetings to really finalize everything and run through the votes. We do have, we're now down to the wire with getting the warrant, but we are still missing some substantial information. So capital has not met yet and gone through their votes for capital items. We still have articles that we're waiting for submission on that will obviously come into play that we'll need to talk about and vote. So we're going to have a lot of information coming in a very short period of time. So I'm not going to probably know what that schedule is going to look like until maybe the end of this week, but possibly even the beginning of next week. I'm hoping. So I think we're going to probably, I might even consider just throwing a couple meetings on the books for at least one meeting on the books for next week, and hope we have it. Hope we have enough information to have it. But I'm going to ask for everybody's flexibility if we have to have a couple of short notice meetings to get things wrapped up. Any questions that I would not be able to answer?
What?
I'll just ask if we have this, if you can email it to us, because
Yeah.
I don't have x-ray vision here.
And not much has changed since the last one, but yes, Dave, once I make the final adjustments tonight, I will absolutely get it out to you.
Be able to see it tonight.
Hold on. I emailed it to you last night, right, Dan?
Me, he says quizzically.
That doesn't bode well for a yes, huh? Hold on, because I'm now toggling between computers too. Let me go into, I might be able to send it to you. Hold on.
Is this a file share that we can all get to?
No. Last night, was that the night before? Oh, shoot, never mind, I sent it to myself. Give me 1 second. Did it not go through to you, Dan? You didn't get one? Okay. He's emailing this computer. I might not be able to, Dan, Dave. Let's see, hold on. I might be able to do it right from there, okay.
You sent it back in February, has February 26th.
I think I can do this one too, though. Is anybody else definitively need it tonight for right now?
I don't need it, but if you can send it, then.
Send it to everybody.
Well, I have to manually enter in everyone, so if you don't need it for like right this second, I'll just do Dave. You're gonna have to read me your email address. Oh, wait a minute, the whole world will know.
slider note.
Now Dan's is up on the,
Oh, jeez.
screen.
Oh, it's gonna go up no matter what. Do you care if everybody sees your email address?
You can't see it.
Just disconnect the screen.
Hold on.
There you go. You can see it anyway.
You can't?
Um,
Okay.
Actually, Dave can probably forward it to me when he gets it.
Ratings are dropping while you're.
I know, seriously? Maybe everybody will get sick and tired.
Switching over to the PBS News.
Oh, no, it's not. None of my technology's gonna work. Oh, my Lord. Dave, you're gonna have to tell it to me. Only your work one's coming up for some reason on my phone. Yep, there it is. Okay, hold on. This without my glasses. I'm a mess, huh? I can't even. Sure, now he pops up. Okay, that was torture, but I got it.
That's why they pay the big bucks.
Jeez, yeah. Part of the problem, my eyes are so tired too, I can't even see anything. All right. I have no idea where I was now.
Budget.
All right. So we'll just make whatever changes we're gonna make to tonight. We'll keep the notes in here. I will get it out to everybody. I'll get the Excel file out to everyone. Okay. All right, so I think we'll just run through. So everything I have received on the revenue side so far has been good and hasn't changed. We still, like I said, we still have a few pieces to go through. And then some of the bigger decisions that need to be made, again, were capital. Melissa sent me an email on OPEB funding we need to still talk about, and there's a couple of them little ones, but we'll kind of just go through. Being sensitive. So I do have a couple line items highlighted in the Selectmen's department, which I do have an email out to the Board of Selectmen on. So I will probably be leaving those for now. We also had reserve fund highlighted as an area. We did increase our reserve fund this year, $25,000. I think ideally we'd love to keep that. We can, but it's a line item that if we have to scrape, you know, we have the ability to move that one. But if we can keep it, it would be a good thing, I think, especially this year. Town accountant. So I have this line item highlighted, and I actually started playing around. So the board is going to be, the Board of Selectmen is going to be on Wednesday tomorrow, is going to be talking about the possibility of upgrading the position of town accountant to Director of Finance / town accountant. There is nothing approved yet, so I think I will need to wait until the results of that meeting happen in order, then we will talk about, I actually just started playing around with it because I wanted to see where it came out with, but there is no range yet. So I'll actually erase that out for the time being, and we'll just leave that, but know that that line item you might see different, and if we do, that's why. So we'll wait to see what the results of that meeting is. far. I don't think there was anything else in that area. Treasurer collector, we did make an adjustment. Melissa sent me an email. Melissa, you want to just tell me real quick, because I won't do it.
Sure.
I won't.
When I budgeted for the principal clerk's position, I looked at the senior clerk hourly rate. So I had to adjust it to be correct. So it did change my $19,000 down to $14,000. And scratch that other part of that email that I sent you, Laura, about the 2,000 additional request. So that was it. That's the change. This is definitely a principal clerk. It's way more. It's going to be HR things and payroll information and like more than a senior clerk would do. And it was completely stupid on my part. And someone said it to me the other day, and I went, I could picture the chart, and I thought, oh God, I took the number from the top of the chart. So I'm sorry.
So now Melissa's only gone down for a little over 4%, so shame on you.
Sorry.
So I did
I
make
lost
that,
my star.
yes. Well, one of you two maybe, I don't know. So we did go ahead and make that adjustment, and that note is in there as well. Okay. We did make the adjustments in IT per conversation between Mr. Noble and Ryan. Melanie, I did send you an email back and forth when I was asking about John Shea's comment, and I did look into it, and we did adjust. That is the $57,000 line item that we zeroed out. That is the line item that they moved over to the school. So that was fine. I wanted to just make sure he did mention 2 line items, and that's what made me nervous. But I went back and I asked, I apologize, I probably should have CC'd you guys on it. And he gave me a long answer, which I didn't really have time because it was a couple of years back information. So I think when the dust settles a little, we can go back and look and see what he's talking about with the previous years.
But it seems like
But I think more importantly, I just wanted to make sure that we were accounting correctly for that one, so.
we didn't have, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't on the town side and on the school
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. So that was fine. Okay, and then going into the town clerk's office, we did have some discussion at the last meeting about department head salary. We had looked at the comps analysis that I had done, and I sent that out, and we decided we would wait until this meeting to make a recommendation on how we wanted to move forward with that. So if anybody has a recommendation.
I think, based on the analysis that you had put together, which took into account normalizing the salaries based on hours worked and with everything, that we should recommend a 7%.
Okay. I know I didn't bring new copies of that, but I did hand it out the last one. I don't know if I emailed it to you or not. I think I handed it out.
It was paper.
It was paper, okay. I don't know if you're like me and you carry around every piece of paper you ever had. Kevin does. You want to find it before? Dan has a copy too, if anybody needs to see it really quick.
Thank you so much.
I don't think I have this one copy. Oh, I do have another copy, because I don't ever throw anything away either.
I would second that motion.
Did you make it as a motion or a recommendation, a motion?
I can make it as a, so I motion that we approve, or A motion to increase the salary by 7%.
And Kevin will second that?
Yes.
Okay, so now, any discussion?
Well, we don't really need to make a motion. That's a recommendation on the budget because it gets voted on at town hall. So we don't make a motion.
Well, we have in the past when we're changing, or when we're, specifically when we're reducing off of department requests. We have in the past. I'm not sure we have to on line items, as long as we vote the bottom line. I don't think it hurts. And we have done it on other major changes.
I mean, I guess it just documents what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Oh, everyone's good? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? 2? Okay, and the ayes will have it. Okay, so it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 2. 0, motion pass. Okay. All right. Go ahead and change that.
So who would make the final decision on that?
Town
We
meeting.
make, yeah, town
Town
meeting.
meeting would
We,
vote on that?
we vote a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. Board of Selectmen make the recommendation, and it goes to town meeting, the town meeting votes.
Thank you.
Okay, planning board, that was just a line item move. We don't have to make anything on that. I think at last meeting, I think I'd already updated health insurance. I hadn't? Okay, well, I updated, well, then, next day I held.
We just got that number at last meeting.
Yeah, so
Got it at the
right after
meeting.
last meeting, Melissa gave us the updated number, so we did go ahead and update that. So that did get updated in the budget as well. Okay. So we, at the last meeting, I'm starting to lose my meetings here. At the last meeting, we had talked about the police department request that the Board of Selectmen approved for them to hire 2 additional officers. So part of that was that we had asked them to go back and add that back in to their request, and then obviously it would go through the normal process of the budget. So the line items, I've gone ahead and done that change, and it changed the line items. So the change, the net change from the request they submitted to this request was about $68,000. The overall change from last year's budget to this year's budget is $111,000, which brings it up to a 4.26% change. So an incremental change from last submission of $68,000, an overall year-over-year change of $111,000 to add the 2 bodies.
So to add the 2 full-time salaries, did he go in and reduce, like, cover sick and cover vacation and all
Yes.
those?
Yes, yeah. And tweaked a couple of the line items to kind of make it work
Okay.
a little better. So it wasn't as much of an increase, because you're not going to really get 2 full offices
But
at
then upon
111.
that $111,000, if that's for FTEs, what's the benefit portion? Is it a 30% additional benefit cost?
Overall, well, not 30% per, well, it would be on the total amount. About, I don't think 30. 30 sounds a little high.
You know, I mean, it obviously depends on benefits that they take, health-wise. I mean, they could go into the most expensive, and it's a 12%.
But there's got to be an average for the town that says, here's your average benefit component of our
What's
budget.
the average benefit package worth?
It's. I would have-
Take a guess.
So, well, let's just say it's probably somewhere between 20 and 30% overall with taxes and benefits. So yes, there will be an incremental increase across across.
Is that number, though, that he put in for the salaries, that's not annualized? Because he's not anticipating them starting until later in the year.
Thought he had people ready to hit the road because they had gone through the academy and they're on the auxiliary force.
One of them, right?
Yeah, one guy already left,
It was
right?
more than that.
I have to ask.
But one's a new and one's a replacement, I think, right?
One replacement that doesn't affect the budget. These are net new, two. But he's replacing one that, now.
He had that guy leave for the environmental
Yeah.
police, yeah.
Okay, so, I want to say it was, but let me double check. What did he say was the timing?
I thought he said he wanted them to start the academy in September, yeah.
September, October, so we're probably talking almost close to November, December before they
Probably
started.
75%. Because he has to pay them while they're in the academy, right?
Okay,
I don't know if they
I don't know.
make the same full rate,
They're hired and then
yeah.
yeah.
Actually, you would know, would you, Melissa? They do pay them in the
Then they do
academy.
a portion, payback over a period of time for part of the cost of it.
So it probably wouldn't be much proration at all.
So, it's not huge that they pay, but, they'll pay back a portion of the academy cost.
Okay, so that actually changes it. I'll get the specifics, though. Academy start.
So has there been any discussion with the chief regarding filling one position as opposed to two positions? I know there was a big boost in calls, et cetera, with wellness checks, due to COVID, et cetera, things like that. But as things start to change, and, if we're not gonna have that, has there been discussion about going with one versus two?
It's coming down to, it really wasn't just about calls, it was about overall busyness and being down bodies. They've been down bodies for 6 years, I think it was, 6+ years. And they, when they cut back, they had never been able to regain. And what catalyst for this was, well, there were probably many catalysts, but I think the survey that was done, the Abington survey, that showed a comp of all the surrounding towns, and that East Bridgewater was at the bottom of that list.
And I don't know
Number of FTEs.
I mean, if the selectmen approved it, we don't have much.
So no, the way, yeah, so it's a little bit of horse and cart, but, if we were in a position, so yes and no, I mean, overall, the budget still has to be approved by the town, right? So that has to happen. If for some reason somebody were to get up and say, no, I don't want these
So in theory, the
police.
FinCom could vote against that and take that budget to town meeting, right? And just
Right.
present that at the town meeting and selectmen or somebody.
Absolutely.
else
But
can say,
we worked cooperatively with the chief and the board to try and make this happen.
So remember, we're an advisory group to the board.
Right.
So we can make a recommendation, and before they vote on the budget to present at town meeting, they can change our recommendations.
I can ignore them, right?
And ultimately, it's the town meeting decides,
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, you're putting in your warrant a FinCom recommendation.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think that's binding.
Whoa, whoa,
Well,
whoa.
we put it, no, our recommendation is on the warrant.
right.
It has to be voted
Articles.
on by the Board of Selectmen,
has to also-
who could amend that recommendation. We've done it in the past.
I mean, I think it would be a problem if we got to that point.
Sure, yeah, agreed. But
So I think the way we approached it was we met, with the chief, I think we all agreed that, we don't want to see that department decimated, and with everything going on. And that we would work cooperatively to, accept the budget request and see if it was workable.
So how do we get to that point where we understand how to pay for all this stuff, like the revenue, I think you alluded to? When does that come so we can say, like the police has gone up 4.26%, and if revenues go up 4.26%, then fine, that should be a
Well,
wash.
it doesn't, so it's not, equal across the board, right? Some
Right.
departments go up one year, a higher amount, and then they're back down potentially. Others are up consistently, some have run rates that are closer to the 4% mark.
Right.
So this year, as it talked about, we're in a little bit more of a difficult position. We haven't got to that because of the circumstance we're in. We'll be having a final meeting next week to kind of put those final numbers on paper to see where we stand. So part of this exercise is, so yes, that is a big challenge we have right now, is not knowing exactly if we need to cut. We have to finalize those numbers, and then we also have to have a discussion about, I'm just gonna throw general numbers out there. If we finalize our expenses, we finalize the majority of the revenues, capital says, okay, would like to move forward with these 5 things, if it all works out in the worksheet, and we have let's just say, this isn't the number, so I'm just doing easy math, a $500,000 deficit. We then need to decide, because we put that $1.6 million in the stabilization account at last meeting, at last special, with the thought that we would be then using it for this year. So that's where we have to then kind of make those decisions of where are we landing, and then how comfortable are we with whatever amount we're going to potentially take out of the stabilization account.
Right.
And that hopefully is happening next week.
So who's going to provide the revenue numbers?
That's the finance team with hopefully the new interim town administrator will be doing that next
Has
week.
that person been named, the interim town
No, it
administrator?
has not.
Okay.
So that's why we're a little between a rock and a hard place. But if we can at least be comfortable with where we are, knowing what we know today, and at least make the decisions that we have to kind of, recommendations or whatnot.
Yep.
And then if something massively changes, knock on wood, hopefully it won't.
Yeah.
Then we come back and say, okay, now we got to cut $1 million out of the budget or something. We would have to do that exercise.
That makes sense.
I think the hope is we're fairly confident we will not have to do that.
Right.
But, things change.
Numbers
Things
all
change
the time.
rapidly. All right, so I will get that answer for you guys on the police, on the prorated amounts. Okay, I don't think we had anything left in dispatch or fire. I don't remember why I had this highlighted. I think it might have just been one of my salaries that was high that I highlighted. So to your point, Joe, about the police being high, and the point that school typically is a higher run rate, we're incredibly lucky this year that right now, their school budget is only a 2.14% increase because they had so many grants and federal funds that they were able to utilize. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So that alone is an example, I think, of how some years they go higher, if there's a need that comes in, and if this year's the year for the police department to get the staff back up, staffing levels, the school did a great job in their budgeting and was able to keep it at 2.14%, which is typically closer to a 4.5% run rate.
Yeah.
So, all right, DPW. I feel like we hashed out the majority of issues there. So I guess the one area that we have, should we find ourselves in a little bit of a different scenario next week, is we still have snow. Have you guys heard any numbers on deficit for this year? I haven't either. Okay. As we all know, we're trying to get the snow and ice budget closer to reality.
Yep.
So we're trying to take baby steps to get it there. So it's a little more realistic. This year, we are looking to increase it substantially again. I mean, we took a pretty good step last year, and we're trying to up it again this year. If we find ourselves in dire straits, it is an area we can potentially scale back on. Again, we'd like not to, because I think we're making progress, and I'd like to keep that progress going.
Well, once you have a level of commitment, you can't scale back on that.
Right.
That's, right.
Well,
Uh,
because snow and ice is the only one you can.
You can overspend, but if you put 150 in there, you can't put 50 in there the next year. You have to keep it at 150.
Yeah,
Why?
That's the state law.
Oh, so we don't wanna do that.
That's why we always kept it at $50,000.
Yeah.
And wasn't there in the DPW, wasn't there some question about some large salary increase in DPW too?
Yeah, the ops manager guy,
no, it wasn't, it was, facilities, I think.
facilities.
Facilities?
yeah.
Facilities,
Okay.
yeah. Personnel Board did make that vote, I think, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't have that particular paperwork in front of me. That was a couple meetings ago.
And actually, I think I do have it highlighted, but that is, thank you for bringing that up. They voted a different amount than what was requested, I believe. So I will get that number from personnel, and we'll adjust accordingly.
Crystal, was what was done more along the lines of a comparative community as opposed to what they had gotten and showed us last time?
So I'm just trying to think of the last meeting I had with them.
Yeah, I think they were comparing
So-
it to Lynn, right?
Yeah, there were a couple of towns that were
Interesting.
out of line with what we were. So I think when you looked at those towns, it looked as though it was like a 13% increase from what the request was. And then the request that was approved by personnel is 3% for a facilities director.
I was gonna say, was it
Sorry, approve a
3
COLA.
plus 2?
COLA,
plus
COLA,
2,
3
okay, so
sorry.
5%?
Yep, 2 plus 3, 2 COLA, 3% increase.
Were people satisfied that that's more in line with our peers?
Depends on who you ask.
Okay.
All right, so I will make that change and send you an updated note on that one with the spreadsheet as well. I don't think there were any other line items in DPW. Didn't have any other. Okay, council on aging was good, veterans were good. Public library, I think we're all squared away with them now, but they had some confusion around their salary grid as well. And they had to, I think they had changed it prior to our last meeting, though. They had actually done a 1% increase with their board of trustees, but then the COLA was voted at 1.5%. So they went back and changed it, and I believe they had to go back to their board of trustees as well. But we've already gone ahead and made that change in the budget, so I think they're fine. I think that was it on the item. So actually, we did fairly well on going through those. So, any questions on the expenses? Pure expenses, I guess I'll call them, on just our operating.
What's the total budget?
53, hold on, 53 something, 53. $53,971,311 in expenses.
Looks like 3.19 up from last year.
Yep.
That's not bad.
Yep, so,
Do we have a current management report?
I have one that's, no, it's probably been a month and a half since I got one, but I can get a current one as well.
3.19 for level services.
Yep. So, let's talk OPEB funding. That's fun. 'Cause that's fun. All right, so Melissa has sent an email out. So if you remember correctly, we've been trying very hard over the past couple of years to try and, I don't want to say keep up with our OPEB funding, because that's probably a severe overstatement, trying to do some OPEB funding for this massive liability that we have.
How much is the liability?
I would say 65, but it's like 50-something.
Yeah, so it's almost 60.
Above 50 million.
Yeah.
And that's across the state. Everybody's in the same boat. But we have to make attempts to, try to pay it down. So we've been trying to do that the last couple of years. One of the big pushes for us when we went for the meals tax was to say that we would use that meals tax money to help fund, to pay down our OPEB. Of course, the minute we got it approved, COVID hit, and and we saw that go down the tubes. I meant to ask you, so we've only received one sales. I was going to say today.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
The first 2 months, it started on October 1st. So we got our first payment for October, November. It was $11,894. October and November, right? Things were going down. They weren't getting better. We were kind of shutting down the Thanksgiving scare, but we did get $29,999.14 yesterday. So it actually went up a few, to 10,000-ish a month for the next 3 months. So that was December, January, and February. Now, we're gonna be able to see the, outdoor dining and those types of things start to change, and hopefully, there'll be no huge surges and shutdowns or anything like that. So,
So even if we were at this 30,000 level
we stayed at
conservatively,
10,000, we'd be fine
that's
to do 50.
100, that's 120 for the year.
Right, I mean, the original goal was to do 100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Because the state website has these estimates on what we would take in for revenues, and they estimate almost 200,000 for the town of East Bridgewater, because you have to take into consideration all the events, the weddings, and all those things that we haven't had. Those are also now able to start.
Yeah.
100 people inside, 150 outside, all those things generate a meals tax. So when we moved our OPEB to the state retirement trust fund board, to the Mass Prim, we estimated $100,000, and we were relying on the new revenue generated from meals tax. Because it was when I recommended that the other day, I didn't know where we stood.
Yeah.
I said, I think, easily, we could do 50,000 this year, committed. Next year,
21.
But if things go along and there is a special town meeting, I think we should definitely consider trying to make up the other 50 to get to that 100,000. The liability's not going down.
Yeah.
Um,
So we do this with an article.
If you put it in the budget, it gets voted as the budget, because it becomes a budget item. We figure out funding sources for
Yeah.
budget items.
Yeah.
If you can do it either way. It can be an article, naming the account, or if you recall, when they vote the budget, the omnibus budget,
Yep.
they say, and this much from this account, and this much from this account, this much to cover these funds. So it's 6
Yeah.
of one, half dozen of
We've done
another.
it as an article in the past,
That's
correct?
what I thought, and so because I know we have to get those in by Friday.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a big
So-
deal, it's just.
We will have to vote whether we put it in the budget or article. I think for now, I'm more comfortable
think
just leaving
just
it as an article
doing
because
the
it hasn't
same
been in the
way.
budget before,
It
so.
doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah, so Melissa's recommendation is that we have an article to fund the 50,000 now, and assuming we see the same positive trend in meals tax, that we come to this, assuming, is that assuming we have a special, or,
Yeah.
I mean, we probably will.
generally always do.
We almost always do. So, and then fund
Either way.
the other 50,000 at the special.
There's always a few deficits that need to be funded at special, what have you.
I think that seems pretty
So we're
reasonable.
talking about paying this off over 400 years.
Oh, yeah.
325
Oh, this is all about good faith
Well,
effort.
if we ever get to the point where we pay our retirement, we'll be able to
Yeah.
Well, I have a
put
question.
more into OPEB.
I know the city of Quincy's looking at, because the interest rates are so low, they're looking at borrowing that whole amount and
Right.
taking a bond on it and paying it off now.
Yeah, well,
Does that work?
we're already at a debt level that's comfortable here. I don't know that,
Well,
I don't
is
think
this,
that that's.
is there any benefit to, financially to paying it off now? At a low
Well, a
interest
dollar
rate?
today is more,
So let's
more
see.
valuable than a dollar in
Just for the hell of
20
it.
years, but, how many dollars do we have
That's what I'm
right
saying,
now?
if you borrow
I don't
it.
know that I mean, we're adding debt right now. So, I personally don't like that idea.
And
know
I think
others-
that's-
A few other towns have done it, but it doesn't,
Yeah.
Doesn't what?
it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't, because it also then increases you have that much less to borrow over the next 30 years that you just borrowed that money. So when a project comes up, sorry,
Yeah.
we're paying OPEB with that.
Right.
And we have, I
And
think we
paying
have a
interest.
plan. This meals tax was
Paying
kind of brought on with the commitment that that would be what we would use to fund OPEB.
Yeah, but it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna get paid off in 325 years.
Are you worried about it?
You were, my time of worrying is,
Yeah, just let it ride, I guess, huh?
yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, every single city in town is in the same exact boat.
Uh-huh.
So it's not like,
Not a unique problem to
it's
Bridgewater
not
by any
unique,
means.
and it's not like they're gonna come knocking on the door
But it's
demanding
something that they
collection.
look at, and like,
Yeah.
just the other day, we had our Standard and Poor's meeting for our bond rating for our borrowing, and major question.
Yeah.
What are you doing about OPEB, and I had good things to say, because we did move to the state trust fund, which, I mean, for some strange reason, last year had the biggest, as of December 31st, biggest and best year ever, and the stranger part is between June in December, they had a 16% return. I'm sorry, 12.9.
Were they
And
happy,
this-
were they
Mark,
happy
great
with our
last
plan
year.
to have meals tax funding?
Hmm?
Were they happy with the plan to
They
have
like
meals
the
tax?
idea that,
Yeah.
we do have a plan to, because there was $5,000 put in the first year, and then $10,000 for the next. So we only had $1,253 in earnings in that account. We only had $82,000 in the account.
Yeah.
So we put the 40 in last year, which was
Yeah.
a big jump.
So what's the impact if you don't put anything in?
It impacts your bond rating. It's also a liability on your financials.
Right, but I mean, it's still gonna
That's bad.
be forever now, okay.
So, I think, I don't know how the committee feels, and we don't have to vote on it until the article's in front of us, but I personally am comfortable with Melissa's plan.
I mean, that's been the plan all along. We've talked about it from the beginning.
Yeah, and I'm comfortable with, again,
Sand
it's
Hills,
not,
not the
we'll have to make a
100,000.
recommendation to doing the 50 now and seeing how things play out over the next several months and then doing another 50. So, until somebody tells us differently.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's, you'll put that in as an article then?
yeah.
And
I'll
then
have
we
that-
will
I'll have
have that
to
available
Rebecca
to vote
tomorrow.
on. Okay.
And for any reason, like March, April, May, like if we start seeing bigger numbers, then it could always
Oh,
be
absolutely.
more.
Well,
No,
the
because
thought process
it's
was
different,
100,000 a
right.
year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if.
And the wedding stuff should hopefully do well this year, because they're trying to like cram, they're like trying to do 2 years at once, so hopefully
And the restaurants have been busy, very
A lot of
busy.
takeout too.
Oh, yeah, no, lots.
Have it, no, I'm just gonna say Fiesta's added the deck, so that'll be nice too, so. For those who like it.
Yep. My son's working there, so I get a detailed report every night
Oh, there you
of
go.
how busy it is and what happened.
Who's driven by?
Yeah. So be careful when you go.
The mole.
Who'd you see? All right, so capital, so the other components that we're missing are capital. Capital's meeting next Tuesday night, Dan, I think?
Yes.
That's what Michelle told me. Okay, capital's meeting next Tuesday night. That's an outstanding piece. Rebecca has put an email out to all department heads that any other articles need to be submitted by Friday. So by Monday, we should know what all the articles are, and then we have to go through those, if there are any ones out there. What are the other missing pieces that we have? Capital articles. OPEB. I feel like there's like, I've had 10 emails, so I probably should have been coordinated with them all. But I think, so I think that's, you know, we have still have an awful lot of outstanding and moving pieces, but I think we're just gonna have to commit, be flexible, and then move very, very, very fast when we do get the information. So, are there any pieces that I didn't hit on that you guys want to talk about? No? No? Okay. I'm thinking, I'm gonna make an assumption that an interim gets named. And I'm gonna make an assumption that maybe they'll potentially be here next week. I'm gonna go out on a limb. My inclination is to maybe schedule a meeting for us a little later in the week than we normally do, to give it some time for processing and stuff. So, would everybody be able to do like maybe a Thursday night meeting?
I
Yeah,
can do Thursday.
okay,
I can't.
You
I
can't?
Coach soccer on Thursdays.
okay. Kevin, can you? Okay, let me see how it plays out over the next couple days. I swear, Kevin. Kevin said, yes, I'm writing it down. All right, I'm gonna just tentatively put a hold on it. We'll see how things play out Monday, Tuesday, and then I'll just update everybody. And we will like wing it. We're in absolute wing it mode. But hey, sometimes you get your best work done that way, right?
That's right.
Under the gun, literally. Okay. Anybody else have anything additional?
I just sent you the link for the snow and ice, so you can see.
Okay. All right, we'll take a look at that then. Great.
Well, just to, when is the, like, the drop dead date where we have to have all the final? Is that, do we
I
know
need to
that
look
date
at
right now?
I need to look at the schedule. I think it was, well, hold on, I shouldn't just think. I should. I think by the end of,
End
well,
of April?
no, I was gonna say end of next week.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we probably have maybe 2 weeks, but I've gotta look at the schedule and I've just gotta kind of back into a couple things, because
Right.
we have to have, it's not just us, right? We have to have all of our stuff done. It's gotta go to the selectmen have to
Yep.
do the voting. It's gotta go to print, do all that stuff, so. That's why I wanna kind of wait and to see what
All
happens
right,
Monday,
so
Tuesday.
there is at this point no inclination or indication from the Board of Selectmen that they're gonna push out town meeting.
No. I believe their thought process, I shouldn't guess, I should know, is that we should be able to get through. So the deadline to get the warrant to sue is April 22nd.
April 22nd.
So, but in the time, what has to happen, so by April 5th, all the articles are supposed to be reviewed by Finance Committee, Treasurer, Town Council, Accountant, Town Administrator, and Selectmen. That's
What?
next week.
That's all we, yeah.
And then warrant closed and
Monday.
approval by second on the 12th. So I am, you know, I'm gonna repeat myself, I'm still not particularly comfortable with where we are in the schedule. I've voiced that opinion already.
I mean, at this point, there's no way we can have our vote for Monday.
No, it won't happen. So that's why I need to wait until Monday, Tuesday, see what happens, and have
Got it, of course.
some guidance as to this has to happen, this can't happen, whatever. But I don't want us to be the holdup if we can help it, right? So I think I want to like see what happens Monday, Tuesday, see what the conversations are. I mean, the good thing is I don't think there's going to be a ton of articles, this warrant. It doesn't sound like there's much. So, you know, we're not going to have 20 articles to go through. You know, if we have 3 or 4, maybe, I'm thinking. So my biggest concern is obviously getting all of this. This is where I'm a little freaked out about. So, let's see what happens Monday, Tuesday. Let's have the conversations. I'll update you as quickly as I can. And we'll just move as fast as we can.
Sounds good.
Good. All right, any other questions? All right, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Make
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second?
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, we're adjourned at 7:29.
All right, under an hour.